A faint whisper stirs Imran from his sleep. His eyes snap open, his breath shallow with unease. He sits up abruptly, scanning his surroundings, trying to recall where he is. The rough desert is gone. The cold, biting wind is no longer against his skin. He runs a dry hand over his lips. He is not thirsty anymore. His gaze drifts across the dimly lit room. A house, it seems. Slowly, pieces of memory fall into place: the cobbler, the earthen bowl, the pain in his feet. His fingers grope for something beside him. When they close around the familiar leather flask, he exhales in relief. Then he hears it again, a hushed voice from the next room, low and urgent, as if someone is trying not to be overheard. A shadow of suspicion crosses his mind. It was a conspiracy. Moving carefully in the faint light, he crawls toward a small satchel lying near the wall. His fingers fumble to untie it, reaching inside until they grasp what he seeks. He pulls out a rolled piece of parchment, an aged map drawn on animal skin. Holding it up to the dim light, a smirk plays on his lips. Safe. But the whispering continues. He lifts his head, eyes locked on the next room. Sliding the blanket off his legs, he attempts to stand. A sharp pain shoots through his body. He stiffens, trembling as the ache surges through his feet. Unable to suppress a groan, he clenches his teeth. Damn this pain. Yet the whispering shifts. It is no longer just voices. There is a soft, stifled sob. A moan. He strains to listen. Someone is weeping. Ignoring the protest of his wounds, he crawls forward. The fabric wrapped around his feet comes undone, trailing behind him like an abandoned thread. Silent and careful, he reaches the doorway of the next room. His fingers curl around the curtain. He hesitates, then gently pulls it aside. Under the flickering glow of a lone candle, he sees the cobbler kneeling in the corner. Hands raised, shoulders trembling, he is praying. His voice is hushed, but the sorrow in it is unmistakable. Imran rubs the sleep from his eyes, watching with quiet astonishment. At this hour of the night, minutes pass. The cobbler weeps, his forehead pressed to the earth. His words, murmured between sobs, are lost on Imran. Then, finally, the prayer ends. The cobbler wipes his tears with a white cloth, whispers a single Ya Ali, and rises to his feet. Imran quickly retreats behind the doorframe as the cobbler lifts the candle and moves toward the courtyard. Breathing heavily, Imran presses a hand against the wall and forces himself forward. His strength is waning. His wounds burn. Sweat beads on his forehead. Every inch forward is agony. Yet, he pushes on. Reaching the threshold, he peeks out. There, by the stone fountain, the cobbler sits silent, lost in thought. And then, as if sensing something, he turns. Their eyes meet. The cobbler eyes Imran with surprise, but soon, a warm smile softens his face. Imran, breathless from exertion, leans against the doorway, exhaustion settling in his limbs. I was wondering, he muses, what reason could possibly make a cobbler cry in the middle of the night? The cobbler shakes his head. You'd do better to worry about your own feet than a cobbler's tears, young man. His smile is not of rebuke, but of kindness. If you were to pour poison into a cup and drink it, it would be no worse than walking on those wounds. Take this to heart if you truly wish to see the northern sea you dream of. Your legs are more important than your eyes. Imran glances down at his feet, running a cautious hand over them. The pain is relentless, but the cobbler's words weigh heavier on his mind. I was asleep when I heard your voice. It startled me. I don't know why, but for a moment I feared treachery. Even through this pain, my curiosity was stronger. The cobbler dabs the damp streaks beneath his eyes with his white cloth, folding it carefully before slipping it back into his shirt pocket. Forgive me for waking you. I forgot that tonight. A guest of God rests in this house. His eyes glimmer with quiet amusement as he gestures toward them. You see, these eyes listen to the heart more than they do to reason. And when the heart aches, these eyes know no remedy but tears. Imran studies him, puzzled. Was that not a prayer I heard? The cobbler hesitates. I don't know if one would call it a prayer. A prayer facing a wall. Imran asks, frowning. The cobbler lifts his head, gazing at the countless stars scattered across the night sky. His expression shifts, distant yet full of unspoken thoughts. All those years you spent in the south, did you ever hear of the Shia? Imran shrugs. Not enough to be baffled by their prayers facing a wall, but enough to have some knowledge. Then tell me, what do you know? I know they are a sect, separated from another sect, a branch that split from the tree of Islam. Have I heard too little, or is this false? The cobbler slowly dips his hand into the stone basin, the water parts, sending ripples outward. So you are not a Muslim yourself. Are you a Christian or a Jew? Imran shrugs again. Neither. I am searching for the water of life. Cobbler. Which of these will help me in my quest, Judaism or Christianity? The cobbler's fingers stir the water. He lifts his gaze toward Imran. So, your purpose in life is only the water of life, and everything else in this world is merely a tool to reach it? Imran nods. The cobbler watches the ripples on the water and asks, then tell me, where does God fit in your life? Imran lifts his head, staring up at the stars. He asks, God? A shooting star streaks across the sky. He remains silent, arranging the words in his mind before saying, "Cobbler, I am neither a Zoroastrian, nor an infidel, nor an idolater." The cobbler smiles. "Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alamin." "Then tell me, what are you?" "I believe in a God who is one, the creator of the earth and the heavens, nothing more. These things you speak of, Islam, Christianity, Judaism, and everything else in this world, they are all just different shades of the same God. But I do not believe in any of them, though I do not reject them either." The cobbler nodded. "You said you believe in a God who is one, the creator of the earth and the heavens, and nothing more. But is God truly nothing more than that?" Imran looked at him. Says he, "I ask you, young man, can God not cause a man to perish in the heart of a barren wasteland? Or, just the same, can he not save him from death in that very same wasteland?" Imran only stared at him. The cobbler continued, "I do not say that everything you spoke was truth, but at least you believe in a God who governs this world." He pulled his hands from the basin, rolled up his sleeves, and prepared for ablution. Imran, still watching him, asked, "You never said why were you crying?" "Out of longing." "And whom were you speaking to, alone in the corner of your room?" The cobbler splashed water onto his face. "To the very one who guided a lost soul through the desert, step by step, and brought him on his own 2 feet to my home tonight." Imran stared at him in astonishment, then asked, "To God?" He replied, "To Ali ibn Musa al-Rida, whose hands are the hands of God." Water trickled between his fingers as he washed his hands for prayer. Imran, even more intrigued now, asked, "But did you not say last night that Ali ibn Musa al-Rida resides in Khorasan?" "I did." "Then how is it that you speak to a man who lives in Khorasan while facing a wall in your room?" The cobbler turned his head and met Imran's gaze. Imran's eyes lingered on his lips, on the faint smile forming there. "There is no wall between us and our Imam. Our Imam is without distance. He is alive, present. If you greet him, he answers you." He turned slightly and bent down. "Assalamu alayka, O Ali ibn Musa al-Rida." Then he turned back to Imran. "I speak of one who, if you call upon him, he sees you. If you thirst, he gives you water. If you hunger, he feeds you. Our Imam is the Imam of the world. He is neither distant nor unreachable. He is ever near. He sees and hears just as those present see and hear." Imran, with a smile of disbelief, looked at him. "Are you saying that your Imam is here, in this very courtyard?" The cobbler wiped his feet and nodded with a gentle smile. Imran was taken aback. With a mix of wonder and doubt, he asked again, "You mean right here, in this very courtyard?" Once more the cobbler nodded. Imran could not believe it. His smile turned into laughter. "But how?" The cobbler walked toward him and sat at the edge of the stone platform. "Do you not believe in his presence here?" Imran hesitated for a moment, glancing around before locking eyes with the cobbler. "To tell you the truth, no, I don't believe it. It sounds more like a joke. I accept your words and do not fault you for them. But tell me now, what is it that prevents you from believing in his presence here? Is it because you cannot see him that you doubt he is here?" "Yes. How can I believe in the presence of someone I do not see?" The cobbler reached out and took Imran's hands in his own. Imran was startled by the warmth of his touch. "Did you see him in the desert?" the cobbler asked. Imran flinched. "When, at his guidance, the wasteland stretched 40 steps before you, revealing the path you had lost, did you see my house beyond those 40 steps?" Imran had no answer. He stared at the cobbler in silence. Not seeing something is no rational proof of its absence. The very air we breathe, the air that gives us life, we cannot see, yet we know it exists. Our Imam is Ali ibn Musa al-Rida. How can you not believe in him when you yourself have been saved by his grace? Imran said nothing. He only watched. The cobbler gestured toward a direction. "Every midnight I turn toward Khorasan, greet my Imam, pray for his well-being, and I know just as clearly as I see the sun in the sky that he sees me, hears me, and knows my state." Imran asked softly, "Tell me, how is it possible to greet someone from here, across such a distance, when he resides in Khorasan?" The cobbler smiled. "Young man, Ali ibn Musa al-Rida is the master of land and time." Imran whispered the words under his breath. "The master of land and time. That's what that man in the desert said. The master of land and time. For Ali ibn Musa al-Rida, distance holds no meaning. Wherever you imagine he is there. There is no place where he is not. Distance is a veil for us, not for him. He has no veil, except that which God wills." Imran shrugged uncertainly. "But what you say is impossible. It simply does not align with reason." The cobbler laughed. "You, of all people, should not say impossible. Why not? Because with your own eyes you witnessed the desert expand by 40 steps before you, did you not?" Imran remained silent. The cobbler continued, "You said it does not align with reason, and yet, tell me, how can a single drop of water measure the vastness of an ocean?" Imran, still silent, only nodded. Possible and impossible all are within the hands of Ali ibn Musa al-Rida. His will shapes what is possible and what is not. Whatever he wills takes form as possible. Whatever he does not permit remains impossible. The entire world is under his authority, and no one can escape his command. Imran, listening intently, nodded and said, I admit, cobbler, you have a way with words, but understanding what you say is very difficult for me. I cannot grasp it. Are we speaking of the same Ali ibn Musa al-Rida, a man like us, who has a body, breathes, and eats food? The cobbler smiled. Yes, by the Lord Almighty, all that you said is true. He is human like us. He has a body, a soul, breathes, and eats. He, too, is a creation of God. But there is one great difference between him and us. Imran's gaze grew firm. What difference? That Ali ibn Musa al-Rida is infallible and holds authority over us. Imran asked softly, when you say infallible, what do you mean? The cobbler placed his hand on the ground, murmuring Ya Ali, and stood up. Straightening his back, he looked at Imran. Infallible means that his words are the words of God, and nothing but God. His actions are the actions of God, and nothing but God. His will is the will of God, and nothing but God. He is a light woven into the form of a body, and a body beyond the nature of all other creatures. His form resembles mine and yours and all whom you have seen, but the essence of his being was not created from clay, it was created from light. He fixed his eyes intently on Imran and asked, Tell me, is your soul greater or your body? Imran, still looking up at him, replied, My soul is greater than my body. The cobbler took Imran's hand and helped him up. In the same way that your soul is greater than your body, the body of an infallible one is greater than that of ordinary beings, and even beyond that. Imran struggled to stand, gripping the wall for support, trying not to put weight on his aching feet, balancing on his toes. Cobbler, tell me truly, do you believe in all that you say with absolute certainty? The cobbler looked at him with a smile. As much as you believe in the northern sea and the waters of eternal life, I believe in my Imam, my master, my guardian Ali ibn Musa al-Rida. What I have spoken is the pure and complete truth, as passed down from his forefathers, reaching the messenger of God, and his words complete the words of the Quran. To all the followers of truth, his words are undeniable. Ali ibn Musa al-Rida is inseparable from the truth. Imran stared at him in astonishment. You mean he is God? The cobbler shook his head. Never. His forefathers have said, Say whatever you wish about us, for whatever you say, you will never truly grasp our reality, and you will always fall short. But never call us God, for we are the creation of God, and God is our creator. Imran shrugged. You have chased away my sleep, cobbler. Your words are sweet and powerful. This Ali ibn Musa al-Rida you describe is truly remarkable. I wish I had the chance to see him with my own eyes. The cobbler tilted his head. The tongues of orators, the words of all eloquent men, cannot capture even a drop of his virtues, young man. What I have spoken is only from my own limited understanding. A mere glimpse of the reality of Ali ibn Musa al-Rida, nothing more. An infallible one can only be described by another infallible one, for the speech, thought, and intellect of ordinary people are weak and incomplete. How can the part ever define the whole? Imran smiled, trying to hide the pain in his feet beneath his expression. Well then, if you go to Khorasan and see Ali ibn Musa al-Rida, send him my greetings. Tell him that Imran, son of Dawood, said, I do not know you, but I do know this: you are a man beyond the dust of this earth. I know it because when I was lost in the desert, you gave me water. You showed me the way, and in a village of strangers, you gave me shelter. The cobbler gestured toward a direction. Why don't you say these words to him yourself? Me. Yes, stand toward Khorasan and speak. Ali ibn Musa al-Rida will hear you. He closed his eyes. A cool breeze brushed against his face.